All right, good morning, everyone. So today we are going to get into some deep hip space. I'm pretty excited, especially this time of year with all of the travel. It's around the holidays. If we're sitting a lot in planes and cars, not giving ourselves the time to move as much as we could. Yeah, we're gonna get these hips juicy and moving, all right? So make sure you have some room to move in all directions, okay? As well as 1 or 2 blocks. I'm gonna have 2 with me today. Okay, we're gonna start with a little bit of grounding work first, just tapping into our body. So once you have your things, go ahead and make your way onto your back. Grab one of your blocks, have it close by, and make your way down to the ground. This block you're gonna put right underneath that hard part of your low back space. Drop the hips. And allow those hips to fully settle down. Heavy on the block. If you have to adjust or come off the block for whatever reason, then please do. Just take the next few moments to settle into the ground, settle into the block, tapping into the rhythm of your breath. Feeling free to have your hands by your side or even your hands on the bony protrusions of the hips, the front of the hips, the ASIS. Just give yourself another moment here. See if there's any more tension left. If there's any tension in the hips. Noticing how they're feeling. Are they stiff from the night before? From activities or the day that was yesterday? And from here, you're going to draw one knee in towards your chest. So draw that left knee in towards your chest. We're going to straighten the leg up towards the sky and point the toes of the left foot. So really stretching out the front of that ankle stuff. From here, draw the foot and the toes in towards midline. So now and hold it there for a moment. So now we're stretching out that lateral tissue of the foot. Go ahead and pull up and in towards the knees and in towards the nose into dorsiflexion with the foot. Now we're stretching out the back of that ankle stuff. And then draw the toes out and to the left. Draw the foot out and to the left. So now we're trying to stretch into the medial tissue of the ankle. And now instead of holding, we're going to create big juicy circles. Point the toes over to the right, up towards your nose and out to the left. Seeing if you can keep the leg nice and straight. Nice and straight. Just moving the ankle, trying to scrape the bowl that is the ankle. And then let's reverse directions nice and slow. See if you can create some tension within the arch and the ball of the foot as well. Creating some nice tension here. You may feel the calf start to turn on and fire, maybe even the quad. And we're gonna bend that knee back in towards our chest and drop the foot down. Other side. Right knee comes in. Exhale. This leg up towards the sky. Go ahead and point the toes, pointing the foot. So we're trying to open up that front face, the top side of the ankle. Draw the toes in towards midline. So now we're stretching out the lateral edge. Really spending like a good full round or two of breath here in each position. Pull it up into dorsiflexion. Stretching out the back of the ankle. Really reach the heel up towards the ceiling. And then out to the right. Okay, so stretching out the medial tissue of the foot. Notice if your leg wants to move for the ankle. Good, and then draw these big juicy circles here. One direction at a time. Nice and smooth. Noticing if there's any speed bumps or like major crunchiness. If this circle is more like a square instead of a circle. And then let's reverse directions. Other way. Nice and smooth with it. And then pull the knee in towards your chest. Plant the foot, take a big breath in, press through your feet and lift those hips, keeping those ribs down. Slide the block out of the way for me and take it slow as we drop one little vertebrae at a time. Bring that block in between the knees as we reach the arms up towards the sky. Take a breath in. Exhale, I'm inviting you to blow air out your mouth. Reaching the shoulder blades up, 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 up to the sky. So we want our ribs to drop down. The low back to soften, maybe even get a little heavy into the earth. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, press through the feet. Feel the ball of the foot. Tuck your tail under more. Squeeze the block. And we're going to start to peel as we exhale that spine, one little vertebrae off at a time. And we want to stop until we get to the ribs. Think of pulling the heels back gently towards your hips as you squeeze the block. We're going to take about 3 more rounds of breath. Really soften up the belly. Tuck the tailbone under even more. Give me one more deep round of breath. And as you exhale, keep reaching up, 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 up with the shoulders as we lower down. One little vertebrae at a time. Beautiful. You can remove the block, hug the knees in towards your chest, rock side to side. Maybe even find a happy baby here. Drawing the knees towards the armpits, soles of the feet towards the ceiling. Just notice how this feels here. the hips open. Low back massaging into the earth. Beautiful. Draw those knees in and just roll on over into tabletop, hands and knees, making your way facing the front of the mat. And go ahead and grab that block and put it in between the knees for me. We're going to tuck the toes under. We're going to find equal weight in our hands and our knees. And we're going to work our segmental flexion and extension, that segmental cow and cat. Okay, so think of squeezing the block gently. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's start with the tailbone as we start to tuck and round, opening up this posterior tissue of the vertebrae. As we bring flexion like a wave up our spine. Think of pushing up and back, especially when you get to the neck, to then flex the chin towards your chest. On our inhales, tail lifts. We pull extension through the spine. So see if you can contract the tissue all around the posterior of your spine. Again, when you get towards the upper back and the neck, push up and then open as you look forward. Exhale. We're just going to do three more here. And if you want to move a little faster, go for it. But I'm inviting you to keep intention. That is, keep your awareness on the segmentation of the spine. Noticing if your shoulders, those shoulder blades want to pinch together or pull apart. Noticing if the elbows want to bend. And also noticing where we feel like we're connected to the spine and where we feel like we're not. One more. Squeeze the block nice and tight. And then relax. So we're going to add on a little bit to that motion. And we're going to turn it into a lateral flexion and work on lateral segmentation. This can be a little bit tricky. Okay, so before we get into this motion on the ground and tabletop, I'm going to have us come up to stand, okay? So if you'd like to get there through a downward facing dog, you can release the block, drop the heels back, pedal it out for a moment. When you feel called, walk the feet up to your hands. And go ahead and roll up nice and slow, taking your time to get there all the way up to stand. Okay, so from here, we're going to bring our hands onto our hips. And if you want to bring that block in between the feet, you are more than welcome to. We're going to softly bend the knees. So to help guide us when we're in our tabletop with lateral flexion, okay, we are going to focus on this nice bony pelvis, okay? And what we want to think about doing, because we're going to be initiating with the pelvis when we're down there, we're going to think about either two options: wagging your tail, right? The side to side action of the pelvis, right? As if we're literally like a dog wagging the tail. Okay. Or another version that helps some folks, some clients of mine, is just imagine your hands are on the steering wheel, on a steering wheel. And we're going to wag over to one side and over to the other side. Okay. So hands on your hips, knees are soft. I'm going to invite you to squeeze the right hip up towards the left rib. You may feel a stretch in this back sort of posterior tissue of the upper glutes, that low back. And then other side, we're going to pull up with the left hip up towards the left rib. Okay. You may even feel your glutes fire, right? This sort of hip capsule tissue fire. Let's do it a few more times. Slide it up. See if you can keep this stuff nice and still. Slide it up. Notice how my knees, they aren't moving too much. They're moving a little bit, but they're not initiating the motion to side. Now really squeeze your block as you pull up and then up. 3 more. Big squeeze up, and it doesn't have to be like a huge motion, right? Big squeeze up. Engage a little bit more for me. Big squeeze up. Really, how high can you get this hip to the rib without anything else moving? Big squeeze up. 1 more for me. Big squeeze. See if you can feel that inner thigh tissue, all this stuff start to turn on. Big squeeze. And woo, relax, shake that off. Move your block to the side. We're gonna come back to that, make our way to the ground. You can face the top of your mat here and go ahead and reach those arms up. Just take a big breath in. You can keep the hands apart or bring them together as you lean over to the left. This is that bit of lateral flexion, just getting the whole body involved though, really sending the hips, bowing through the legs. And then bring both those arms up and we're gonna lean to the left. So noticing what lateral flexion feels like on this side. This is your version, right, of lateral flexion. 1 more time. Bring it up and over to the right. Let's pull up. Nice big stretch over to the left or the other side. Pull it up. Soften up those knees and fold yourself forward over the legs. Really let the spine round here. Taking a few moments to tap into the sensations of the hamstrings. And then plant your hands and step back into your downward facing dog. Big breath in. Your heels do not have to touch the ground. And then drop those knees down to the ground. Find your block. Okay, now I'm going to be showing you this and guiding you through this from a few different angles. Okay, so this is just one angle I'm going to guide you through. So, block in between the knees. Remember that hug up of the hip to the rib. That's what we're going to start with, okay? So, I want you to think about finding spinal extension first, okay? So, we're in spinal extension. Our head is up, our tail is up. And then we're going to squeeze our block and slide the left hip up towards the left rib. As we do this, we're going to keep going, trying to squeeze and pinch this left side closer together. As we open up through the right side. When we feel like we can't go any farther in the torso, I want you to just try to bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. And then from here, squeeze or wag your tail over to the right, right hip up towards right rib. And as you do this, allow the left side of the spine to open. Continue to push the ground away with your hands. As you open up the left side of the torso. When you run out of room in the torso, try to bring your right ear to your right hip or your right shoulder. I'm going to show you from another angle. All right, so we're going to wag again. So if we're over to the right, left hip wags to the left. I'm going to open up the right side, open up the right side, right ear to right shoulder. Okay, again. Right hip slides up, and then I'm going to start to open up through the left side. My right side is contracting nice and strongly. Right ear to right shoulder. I'm going to show you from one more angle, okay? So if I'm over here, this side is open over here. Left hip wags in. I open up through the right side. Left ear to left shoulder. To take myself back. Right side up. Open, open, open left side. Right ear to right shoulder. And then relax. Go ahead and just give yourself like one nice round of extension. And flexion. I definitely felt a lot of contraction in my obliques. You can move your block out of the way and find your downward facing dog once again. From downward facing dog, lift the left leg up towards the sky. We're going to squeeze our heel towards our butt nice and tight, and we want to keep this heel squeezing towards our butt nice and tight. We're going to draw the knee in towards our chest, out to the side, rotate in and back, and continue circling the hip in this big circle or this big car, right? Our controlled articular rotation. Trying to scrape the bowl of the hip. From here, my friends, we're going to reverse direction. Squeeze it back. Notice, did you lose the bend in the knee? Can you keep squeezing the heel towards your butt cheek like you're trying to create lemonade or lemon juice? Try to keep the pelvis even. And then drop that leg down. Other side, if you need a break, you can always drop yourself down. Big squeeze, leg up. Heel to booty. Draw the knee in. Open. Find that internal rotation and hip extension. Good. And then keep drawing it in. Flexion. One more big juicy circle. And let's reverse. Kick it back. Open. Into the chest. And back. We have two more. One more big circle. And we can drop that foot down. Go ahead and look forward. Tiptoe those feet forward. Landing in your forward fold. Go ahead and just allow your feet to open up a little bit wider. A little bit wider so that chest can really dangle down in between the knees. And then from here, go ahead and open up those toes out to the side. Okay, we're going to bring our hips down into our squat position. Ooh. Notice how that feels after we've done a little bit of work in the spine, a little bit of work in the hips. Take a breath, and as you exhale, fold forward once again. All right, 2 more times. Let's drop those hips. Think of squeezing your heels towards your glutes to pull yourself down. Okay, exhale, fold it forward. One more time. Pull your feet in towards midline as you bend the knees. Good. And here comes Bailey dog. Good. And then fold it forward. Thank you. Thank you. And then from here, slowly, gently roll up. One little vertebrae at a time. Go ahead and reach those arms up towards the sky. Keeping your toes pointed out, I want you to press down and out nice and strongly with those feet. Keep your arms up. Can we keep those ribs down like we did in our bridge in the beginning of class? Keeping those ribs down as we pull ourselves back down into our malasana. Hands come down to the ground. We're going to step the right leg back behind us and drop the knee down to the ground. And find our low lunge position. Okay, so if you need blocks here, okay, you can always bring your hands on blocks. We're gonna start to get a little bit more fire into our hips, okay? If you need to put your knee on a knee pad or a block, please do. So, from this position, I'm going to have you find, as you send your hips forward, okay, keeping a little bit of this tuck of the pelvis going on, because what we don't want is to have like, woo, super hyperextension in our back. Our focus is the hips today, okay? So, nice tuck of the tailbone, back booty cheek is squeezing as we send ourselves forward. Now, we're looking for a nice stretch in the front of the hip capsule of our back leg. I'm going to have you start to hug your hips in towards midline. So this front foot is pressing down and pulling back. This back hip is pressing down and pulling forward. I want you to increase that force. So increase the irradiation of energy output you're contracting with, okay? Increase, it's getting higher. Whatever is a safe maximum for you today, you're gonna hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then reverse the efforts. Pull the hips apart from one another. Pulling them apart. So this front leg's pressing down, trying to go forward. This back leg's pressing down and trying to move backwards in space for 3, 2, 1. And slowly, gently relax. Take yourself forward, take yourself back. If you need to straighten out the front leg, you can go for that as well. Just give yourself a second. We're not done here, okay? We're gonna open up this leg out to the side. okay? So now essentially, you can stay where you are. Essentially, you're in like this baby warrior 2 position, okay? So same idea here. I want you to take your lumbopelvic hip complex in the direction of the front leg, the knee and the foot, okay? So now we're getting stretch more in the medial tissues of our thighs. I'm going to invite you to press down and pull in towards one another. So we're pressing down and pulling in. So we're activating this inner thigh stuff, okay? Start to increase, as I fix my hair, start to increase the effort of this hug in, okay? So we're hugging in super duper strongly. Okay, increasing, increasing, increasing until you found your maximum effort. Hold that. We're only gonna hold for 5, 4, big, big hug in. 3, 2, 1, press down, pull it open, pull it open, pull it open. Try to pull these hips farther apart from one another for 3, 2, 1, and relax. Beautiful. Go ahead and give yourself a few pumps forward and back of pulling out with the hips and pulling back in. Woo, I'm shaking. Pull out, pull in. One more time. Big pull out, out, out. Big pull in. We're going to bring this leg forward. So we're back into our low lunge position. Okay, so we're back to facing the front of the mat, this low lunge position. You're gonna tuck your back toes under, and I want you to think of that pulling apart action with your hips, okay? If you need a wall, something to hold on to, if you need to use blocks to support yourself, you're more than welcome to, right? This is how we modify. So start to pull up those legs apart. Now our back toe is pressing down and back, front leg down and forward. You can keep soft arms or reach those arms forward, okay? Wherever you need to be with this, right? Press apart with the legs. Increase intensity, press apart with the legs. Press apart with the legs. Keep going, press apart with the legs. See what happens, press apart with the legs. Maybe that back knee picks up. Press apart, press apart, press apart. Down and out, woo, until we are upright, super duper strong. All right, here's the deal. We're gonna pull ourselves back down. How do we do this? We pull our hips in towards midline. So pull in, allow the back knee to bend, pull in, pull in, pull in, woo! And we're down on the ground. Hands can come down around that front leg, either on blocks, wherever you need to be. And you're gonna step it back, downward facing dog. All right. That was intro to one side. Intro to one side. Shake it off. Give yourself a second. Full round of breath in and out. I'm using my blocks because they're here, and it just feels good to have my hands a little higher off the ground, right? Woo! All right, so look forward. Step up to the top of the mat. Roll up nice and slow. And then the arms rise up, full breath in. And as you exhale, wiggle those feet wider once more and bring yourself down to your squat, that deeper squat, right, that we started with. Notice how your hips feel here now after all that work that we did on the one side. And from here, my friends, you're going to bring your hands to the ground and step the left leg back. Drop down and find your low lunge here on the left side. So, back toes can be tucked or untucked. It's up to you. We have this other side to do, and then we're going to put some stuff together into a little bit of a flow, okay? So, take yourself forward. Again, thinking about keeping this gentle tuck of the tailbone. Notice how when I did that, my booty cheek squeezes and turns on a little bit more. Instead of just here, I'm just essentially dumping my spine forward, right? I'm just dumping my spine. It's all going into my back. I don't feel necessarily much going on here. But when I can keep my ab stuff contracted, my back booty cheek squeezing, good. And I get to send myself forward. Well, now, 1, I feel this working. I feel this stretching. And honestly, like if I go farther, there comes a point when it's just gonna load my spine. Okay, so I'm gonna stay where I can control and breathe into this stretch. Give yourself one more round of breath here. And then I'm going to have you start to hug your hips in towards midline. So press the front leg down and back. Press the back leg down and forward. Okay, this can start at a low intensity. Increase for me. Increase. Increase. A little bit more. Increase. Increase. Maybe until you're shaking, until you're like, okay, this is all I got. Let's hold here, this hug in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna invite you now, press down, pull apart with those hips. Pull those hips apart from one another. You're trying to send this front leg down and forward. This back leg down and back. Good. Hold big for 5. 4, 3, 2, shake in here, 1, and relax. Relax. If you want to wiggle it out, send yourself forward, send it back a little bit, go for it. Whew, take what you need. And then from here, we're gonna wiggle this front leg out to the side. So we're creating this, and I'm going to turn towards you. We're creating this little baby warrior 2 here. Okay. So same idea. Try not to stay super extended in your spine. Keep this stuff soft. Send yourself forward until we have stretch in the abductors, those inner thighs, the groin. Once you're there, you found where you want to be, just hold this and breathe. Press down and pull in for me. Pressing down and pulling in. Low intensity to start, okay, nice and low. And then ramp it up, higher, higher, higher. Keep pulling in higher, higher, higher. Hit your max effort for the day. That's still controlled. Let's hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press down and out as you pull your hips apart from one another. You're going to feel this back booty cheek squeeze, the quad work on this side. You'll still feel your inner thighs. Big hold out, pull, 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 pull apart for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly, gently relax. You can send yourself forward and back. I like that engaging pump feeling of pressing down and out and pressing down and in. So we're going to actively move now through this mobility that we've tapped into, pulling the hips apart, pulling them in, pulling the hips apart, pulling them in. One more time. Uno más. Pull them apart. Pull them in. Oof. And then find your low lunge again, so you can walk that foot back in until we're facing the front of the mat. So your blocks can be close by, your wall, your poles, whatever you need. Nothing, right? So we have this gentle tuck, the booty squeezing. We're forward into our low lunge. Okay, it doesn't have to be aggressive or super deep. Okay, we're gonna press down and pull our hips apart from one another as much as we can. Press down, pull apart. Increase the effort. Press down, pull apart. We're coming up to stand, right? So wherever those hands need to be to support you, can even be reaching forward. Press down, pull apart. Press down stronger until the back knee lifts. Press down stronger. Take it slow. How much time? How much time can you take to get upright? Pressing into your big toes. Whew. All right, we got to make our way down, right? So press down. Hug your hips in towards one another. You're trying to pull them in opposing directions towards midline. Pull in, pull in, pull in. The back knee bends, the back knee bends, the back knee bends. Goodness. And shift it back, downward facing dog. Don't worry, we're gonna add it all together here. We're gonna add it all together. Just find a few rounds of breath in your downward facing dog. Taking something you need. Maybe it's flipping your dog around. Maybe it's juicing out the hips by giving yourself some hip circles here. Those hip cars, the controlled articular rotations. I'm just inviting you here to move on your own for a moment. Maybe it's extension and flexion of your spine, that segmentation. When we think about training our hips, we also want to think about the closest things like related to those hips, right? So that's why we started out with all of the spinal work that we did, the lateral flexions, the pelvic work, the segmentation of the spine. They're so very much tied together. So from here, lift a leg up and go ahead and step it up to the top of your mat. Wherever you are, we're coming all the way up to stand. Good, reach those arms up and bring those arms down to your sides. All right, my friends, we're gonna add some stuff together now, okay? So, left leg is gonna pull up into hip flexion. We're gonna open out to the side, hip abduction. We're gonna rotate the hip in and back behind us into our hip extension. Think about the tailbone, tuck it under, send the knee back, okay? Send it back behind the other one. We're going to reach our arms forward, step the left leg back into a high lunge, okay? Now, if you needed to, bring the foot down, bring the hands to blocks, then step back and come up to a high lunge. You can always do that. But this is where we are. This is also where we were a few moments ago. All right, so from here, we're gonna pull our hips In towards midline, pull them in. Stay shoulders over hips for me as you squeeze, front heel back, back knee forward, all the way down. Woo. Pull those hips apart from one another. As you keep the ab stuff engaged, take yourself to depth. Big pull in. Back to center. One more time. Pull apart. Active stretch, right? We're contracting to take us into our depth. Big pull in. Now, stay here where you are. Press down and out. We're coming all the way back up. Let's hinge forward, bend into the front knee. Pick the leg up as we stand up, back in our hip extension. Open the knee out to the side. Hands can be wherever they need to be to support you. Externally rotate. Cross into center. And bring it back down. Shake it off. We're going to do the other side and then we get to play with it all one more time. Okay? Arms rise. Bring the right knee up with you into your chest. I'm going to show you the first part from the front. Just stay where you are. Okay, so we're up. We're open. We get to rotate in from the root of the leg, finding our hip extension, right? So our leg is back, this thigh behind the other one. Nice contraction here. We hinge forward, bend into the front knee. Step the right leg back. We're in our low lunge as we come on up. Shoulders over hips. Hug those hips in towards center, okay? Your arms can stay up or out to the sides, wherever you need them to be. Hug in. Hug in. Pull this back knee forward. Pull the front leg back. Low lunge. We're almost there. Pull the hips apart. Go to depth. Going to depth in your hip extension. Big pull in. As strong as you want to contract. Pull the hips apart. Pull them in. From here, press down and apart from one another. Pulling them apart. Pulling them apart. Pulling them apart. Pulling them apart. We're all the way back up. Hinge forward. We have a bend in our knee. Step. Press off that leg. Squeeze. Back heel to butt. We're here. Hip extension standing. Open up. Pull it up. Across. And down. Shake it off. Maybe you have to walk it out or bounce it out even. Like, whoa, right? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. One more time. Okay, one more time. Essentially, we're taking all of the hip extension work that we've done and putting it together to get us off, up, and down off the floor with the strength of our legs, right? A great way to build on leg strength. All right, stand up nice and tall, top of the mat, arms reach up. Bring the left knee with you. Squeeze your right booty cheek. Open, rotate in and back. Hip extension. Bend your front knee as you hinge forward. Send the leg back. Come up, we have our low lunge, or high lunge, excuse me. Hug the hips. In towards one another. In towards one another. Boom. All the way down. Pull the hips apart. Send yourself forward. Squeeze the butt cheek. Big pull in. Two more. Pull apart. Exhale. One more. Pull them apart. Hug them in. Here we are. Pull the hips apart. Press yourself off the ground. Arms come up. Hinge. Step strongly. Coming back to this hip extended position. Standing. Open out to the side. Up and in. And down. Whew. Big breath in. Exhale, fold it forward. Catch your breath. One more side. Roll it up. Arms rise. Right knee in. Open to the side as we rotate the femur in and back behind us. Hip extension. Hinge forward in the hips. Bend your left knee. Drop your right toes to the earth and lean up and back. High lunge. Hug the back knee forward. Hug the front leg back. Big reach. Reach, reach, reach. Pull, 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 pull. Press down and out with the legs. So strong. Down and in. Use your hips. Let your hips guide you. Let your hips take you forward. Strongly, hips take you back. One more. Hips send you forward. Hips send you back. Here we go. Press apart and down. We're coming up. Apart and down. Apart and down. Apart and down. Arms up. Legs strong. Hinge. Squeeze heel to butt. All the way up. Open. Across. And down. Whew. Goodness. We did it. Step those feet out nice and wide. Arms lift. Exhale. Fold forward. Can go as wide as you wish with the legs. Take a few moments. Find your yogi squat once more. Whew. Bringing those hips down, this deep squat, this malasana position. Give yourself one round of breath. And then bring your hands down to the ground. And we're going to make our way all the way down to the ground, back onto our back body. Yes, finally. Right? That was a lot of work for the hips. You can just allow the knees to bend, the feet to wiggle out, and the knees to knock in towards one another. Just noticing the sensations occurring in the hips. Notice how your spine feels. Knock the knees over, both of them over to the left. This can be a supine twist of your choice. Lift those knees back up and over to the other side. Lift the knees back up and go ahead and take anything you need here. When you're ready, just extend the legs so the legs and the arms are fully extended. Bringing stillness into your body. Notice how the body naturally landed without a need to shift it or adjust it or judge it. Just notice. Allow the body to breathe for just a moment. And my dear friends, I'm going to leave you right here, taking as much time as you need in this space. That was some beautiful, beautiful work. Juicy, juicy hips. I hope you get to enjoy the rest of your day. And questions, comments, reviews, send them my way. Thank you so much.